Mork Mindy, 1978 to 1982, was a hit sitcom that blended sci-fi fun with heartfelt comedy, launching Robin Williams into stardom and capturing the imagination of a generation. The show's charm, quirky humor, and memorable characters made it a television classic. But behind the laughs and lighthearted moments, some of the cast members faced heartbreaking real-life struggles. In this video, we pay tribute to the actors who helped make Mork and Mindy unforgettable, and who have tragically passed away. From sudden losses to quiet farewells, these are the stars we lost too soon. Robin Williams, born July 21, 1951, was 27 when he took on the iconic role of Mork in 1978. As an alien from the planet Ork, Mork was eccentric, endearing, and irresistibly funny, becoming a cultural phenomenon. But behind the camera, Williams was a deeply troubled man. His battles with substance abuse were legendary, fueled by the pressures of fame and a relentless drive for success. His marriages were rocky, marked by infidelity and personal betrayals, and his relationships with his children strained. A much darker side of Williams emerged over time, with reports of depression and anxiety that he struggled to control. The chaotic, larger-than-life persona that defined his career was a mask for his internal demons. His death on August 11, 2014 at 63 by suicide, attributed to Lewy body dementia, sent shockwaves through Hollywood. His passing revealed the tragic toll of a life spent battling addiction, personal turmoil, and the agonizing progression of a neurodegenerative disease. Tom Poston, born October 17, 1921, was 58 when he began portraying Mr. Bickley, Mork's cantankerous neighbor, in 1979. Poston's career spanned decades, but he was most beloved for his quirky, often grumpy characters. On screen, he was the comic foil, always getting caught up in Mork's bizarre antics. Off-screen, however, Poston's life was far from smooth. His earlier years were marked by a series of failed marriages, including a particularly messy split from his second wife. The fallout from these relationships would haunt him, as his personal life often became tabloid fodder, painting him as emotionally distant and difficult to connect with. Despite his public image as a friendly, affable actor, there were whispers of his temper, which caused tension with colleagues. As Poston aged, his health began to deteriorate, and he passed away on April 30, 2007 at 85 from respiratory failure. However, his quiet suffering behind the scenes remained largely unnoticed by the public until his death. Conrad Janice, born February 11, 1928, was 50 when he started playing the gruff, protective Fred McConnell in 1978. Janice, a seasoned actor with decades in the industry, appeared to lead a relatively scandal-free life compared to his peers. His role as Mindy's father portrayed him as a constant figure of authority and wisdom, but Janice's personal life was far less publicized. While he experienced the ups and downs of an acting career, he avoided the scandalous rumors that surrounded many of his colleagues. However, Janice's darker side emerged in his later years, when he faced allegations of mistreatment from former colleagues who accused him of being difficult to work with. His dedication to music, his second passion, became a hallmark of his character as he aged, but he was known to be fiercely protective of his privacy. Janice passed away peacefully on March 1, 2022 at 94, but his quiet, measured life left many questions unanswered, particularly regarding his relationships behind closed doors. J. Thomas, born July 12, 1948, was 31 when he began playing the charming Remo da Vinci in 1979. Da Vinci's humor and charm made him an integral part of Mork and Mindy, but Thomas's life outside the show was far from as bright. Thomas struggled with personal demons, including battles with alcohol and emotional instability, which led to periods of professional stagnation. His relationships were often chaotic, marked by short-lived marriages and an explosive temper. Despite his comedic talent, his outbursts on set and off-screen led to friction with fellow actors and producers, resulting in his career taking sharp, sudden declines. But perhaps his darkest moments came after his diagnosis with cancer on August 24, 2017. While battling the illness, Thomas became a recluse, and his once jovial personality was replaced by bitterness and regret. J. Thomas passed away that same year at 69, leaving behind a legacy tainted by struggles that many fans never saw coming. Jonathan Winters, born November 11, 1925, joined Mork and Mindy in 1981 at age 56, portraying Mirth, Mork and Mindy's child with a personality both childlike and comedic. Winters was a revolutionary comedian, revered for his improvisational talent, yet his career was marred by darker moments. Behind his public persona, Winters struggled with mental illness, including depression, which led to erratic behavior and frequent breakdowns during filming. He fought alcoholism for much of his life, and many insiders report that he often showed up intoxicated, creating tension on set. Winters' personal relationships were troubled, with his second marriage ending in divorce after a bitter custody battle over his children, who became estranged due to his unpredictable behavior. Despite his fame, Winters faced numerous setbacks in Hollywood, with producers hesitant to work with him due to his difficult reputation. Though he found later peace in his later years, his life was a tragic cocktail of success overshadowed by personal demons. Winters passed away on April 11, 2013 at 87. Robert Donner, born April 27, 1931, was 47 when he first appeared as the eccentric Exciter in 1978. Known for his quirky roles, Donner's portrayal of Exciter, a conspiracy-loving mystic, became a fan favorite. However, Donner's real life mirrored the oddball persona he portrayed on screen, marked by numerous eccentricities and personal battles. His private life was riddled with controversies, including a string of strange romantic entanglements and rumors of erratic behavior on set. Friends and colleagues later claimed he had a fascination with mysticism that led to irrational decision-making, leaving him isolated from many in Hollywood. Despite his success, Donner was frequently viewed as an outsider in the industry, with his unpredictability and eccentricity sometimes leading to trouble with casting directors. In his later years, he struggled with financial instability, which plagued him throughout his career. He passed away from a heart attack on June 8, 2006 at 75, leaving behind a mixed legacy of comedic genius overshadowed by his troubled, enigmatic personal life. Patrick Cranshaw, born June 17, 1919, portrayed Jake Loomis, the friendly but somewhat forgettable character on Mork and Mindy, starting in 1978 at the age of 59. Known for his warm demeanor, Cranshaw had a career that spanned decades, but few knew of the secret turmoil he carried. While the public knew him for his geniality, his personal life was riddled with disappointments. Cranshaw had multiple failed marriages, one of which ended with public accusations of infidelity and financial ruin after his wife discovered a series of secret gambling debts. Cranshaw's career was also marred by missed opportunities, as he was frequently passed over for lead roles in favor of younger, more glamorous actors. His struggles with alcoholism were well documented among his peers, with some recounting stories of him showing up to auditions visibly intoxicated. His late years were spent in relative obscurity, and though he died peacefully on December 28, 2005 at 86, many were shocked by how quietly his career had ended compared to its once promising start. Raquel Welch, born September 5, 1940, was 39 when she appeared as Captain Nirvana on Mork and Mindy in 1979. Though her character was memorable, Welch's career and personal life were plagued by public scandals and private heartbreak. A bombshell in the 1960s, Welch found herself trapped in Hollywood's narrow definitions of beauty, leading to typecasting in roles that left her bitter and resentful. Her marriages were disastrous. Her second husband left her for another woman, sparking a bitter public divorce. Welch's third marriage was equally toxic, ending with accusations of emotional manipulation and substance abuse. Her personal life was further complicated by a series of high-profile affairs with co-stars, one of whom was said to have blackmailed her with intimate photos in the 1970s. As she aged, Welch faced challenges in adapting to changing beauty standards, leading to a decline in roles. She died on February 15, 2023 at 82, leaving behind a legacy marked by both immense beauty and a string of personal regrets. Foster Brooks, born May 11, 1912, was 69 when he portrayed Miles Sternhagen on Mork and Mindy in 1981, bringing his signature lovable lush persona to the small screen. Despite his on-screen charm, Brooks was a deeply troubled man off-camera. His public battle with alcohol became more than just an act, it consumed his personal life. He was known for showing up late to sets, and at times, he was downright unprofessional, especially when drinking heavily before filming. Behind the humor, Brooks was a man in agony, often seen as manipulative in relationships and prone to violent outbursts when intoxicated. His first marriage ended dramatically after multiple infidelities, with his wife reportedly leaving him after finding he had been in a secret affair with a co-star. His later years were marred by health issues stemming from his lifelong alcoholism. Foster Brooks died of heart failure on December 20, 2001 at 89, leaving a legacy of a public figure whose charm masked deeper personal turmoil. Harvey Lembeck, born April 15, 1923, was 58 when he joined Mork and Mindy as Ovitz in 1981, playing a comedic character that belied his more complex personal life. Lembeck was well loved for his comedic timing, but behind the laughs, he was a man deeply struggling with identity. His career was stalled after a series of failed attempts to break into Hollywood, leading him to addiction issues. His struggles with prescription drugs were notorious on set, and he was often seen as erratic, unpredictable, and difficult to work with. Lembeck's personal life was full of scandals, including rumors of violent outbursts during his marriages. One wife accused him of emotional abuse, but the claims were never substantiated. By the end of his life, Lembeck had alienated much of his family, with reports indicating a deep loneliness and regret over his past actions. He died of a heart attack on January 5, 1982 at 58, leaving behind a legacy of unfulfilled promise. Moren Arthur, born April 15, 1934, was 47 when she joined Mork and Mindy as Zelka in 1981. While Arthur played a quirky, almost endearing character, her life was marked by far darker and more complicated realities. Though she appeared poised in public, Arthur struggled with her self-esteem and battled serious addiction issues throughout her career. Her marriages were notoriously short-lived, each filled with bitter, public fights over money and infidelity. Arthur's children were often neglected, with some sources alleging she was emotionally distant and, at times, physically abusive toward them. Her career, while steady, was plagued by typecasting and constant battles with producers over the roles she was offered. By the time of her death on June 15, 2022 at 88, Arthur had retreated from public life, living in relative obscurity, and was reportedly estranged from most of her family. She passed away quietly, leaving a legacy of unfulfilled potential and personal tragedies. Georgia Engel, born July 28, 1948, played the sweet and naive Ambrosia Mousebar in 1979 at the age of 31. Known for her gentle demeanor, Engel's character was memorable for her innocence, which contrasted sharply with the chaotic world of Mork and Mindy. Yet, behind the scenes, Engel grappled with a deeply unsettling personal life. She was often plagued by loneliness, never fully finding the same warmth and connection she portrayed on screen. Her relationships were turbulent, often marked by an inability to form lasting romantic bonds. In fact, her one public engagement ended in an unexpected breakup, shocking her fans. Engel was known for her secretive nature, often withdrawing from the public eye after her Mork and Mindy days. There were whispers of mental health struggles, and she was known to have battled bouts of depression, seeking solace in her acting but never fully conquering her inner turmoil. She passed away on April 12, 2019, at the age of 70, from natural causes. Her death, while quiet, left fans and friends mourning a woman who had kept so much of herself hidden. Paul Reubens, born August 27, 1952, took on the quirky role of Dickie Nimitz in Mork and Mindy in 1981 at the age of 29. His career, though once promising, would later be overshadowed by scandals that forever altered his public image. Reubens was arrested in 1991 for indecent exposure in a Florida movie theater, a scandal that shook the entertainment world and led to his temporary ostracization from Hollywood. Reubens tried to rebuild his career but struggled with persistent accusations of drug possession and erratic behavior, all while battling his own demons of addiction. His personal life, too, was a web of complications, from failed relationships to a troubling pattern of self-destructive behavior. He was known to have pushed away close friends and family during his darkest moments, retreating into his eccentric persona as a form of self-protection. His untimely death on July 30, 2023, at the age of 70 from cancer, marked the end of a career filled with highs and devastating lows, leaving behind a complex and tragic legacy. Anita Dangler, born September 26, 1922, portrayed the regal Princess Lusitania in Mork and Mindy in 1979, at the age of 57. Although her character was minor, her elegance and dignified presence made her stand out. Dangler, however, was not immune to the dark side of fame. Her personal life was an endless struggle to maintain her image of poise while battling financial ruin and a failing marriage. Behind closed doors, her ex-husband, a prominent producer, was notorious for his abuse and public humiliation of Dangler, an affair that resulted in multiple legal battles and public scandals. Her attempt to reinvent herself after Mork and Mindy failed miserably, and Dangler found herself relegated to small roles and eventually forgotten by the industry. Though she tried to maintain the persona of the strong, independent woman, her financial ruin and lonely life often overshadowed any acting successes. She passed away on March 4, 2000, at the age of 77, after a life filled with regret and struggle, fading quietly into obscurity. Don Galloway, born July 27, 1937, took on the role of FBI man in Mork and Mindy in 1979, when he was 43. While his portrayal of the authoritative figure was solid, Galloway's personal life was far less stable. Despite his respectable appearance, he battled with a deep sense of inadequacy and insecurity that often manifested in his relationships. Galloway's marriage was riddled with infidelity, and after a highly publicized affair, he suffered a bitter divorce that shook his public image. The scandal surrounding the affair made headlines, and the fallout impacted his career, as producers began to view him as unreliable. While he found success in TV roles, Galloway was often labeled a has-been in Hollywood circles, battling addiction to painkillers and alcohol to cope with his failures. He became increasingly isolated, with only a small circle of friends standing by him. He died on January 8, 2009, at the age of 71 from natural causes, but the scars of his public and personal battles were still evident. Brian James, born February 20, 1945, was 33 when he began portraying George in Mork and Mindy in 1978. A tough guy character known for his intimidating persona, James' career was often defined by his aggressive roles, but in real life, he was known for his volatile temper and aggressive nature. Off-screen, his career was plagued by issues of substance abuse, which contributed to frequent on-set conflicts. James' anger issues made him a challenging actor to work with, and his roles began to dry up as word spread of his difficult nature. His personal life was equally tumultuous, with 2 marriages ending in scandalous divorces and accusations of infidelity. He had a strained relationship with his children, who rarely spoke of him after his death. Though he was deeply respected for his talent, his reputation for erratic behavior and lack of control over his demons created a legacy of frustration and missed opportunities. He died on August 7, 1999, at the age of 54 from a heart attack, but not before leaving behind a complicated legacy of personal and professional struggles. Barbara Billingsley, born December 22, 1915, began her role as Mrs. Louise Bailey on Mork and Mindy in 1982 at age 67. Famous for her sweet, nurturing persona as June Cleaver in Leave It to Beaver, Billingsley's portrayal of Louise added a warm, grounded element to the series. Despite her wholesome reputation, Billingsley's personal life was far from ideal. Married twice, her first husband left her with a broken heart, and their divorce left her financially strained. A few years later, her second marriage also failed amidst rumors of infidelity. However, what most didn't know was that Billingsley faced deep emotional turmoil after her children became estranged from her due to her demanding career. Publicly, she maintained grace, but privately, the actress struggled with depression and loneliness in her later years. As she entered her final days, there were rumors of secret struggles with financial insecurity and health issues, though she passed away peacefully on October 16, 2010 at 94. Logan Ramsay, born March 21, 1921, began his role as Arnold Wanker in Mork and Mindy in 1978 at age 57. Arnold, quirky and often eccentric, was one of Ramsay's most well-known roles, but his personal life was more complicated than the humorous characters he portrayed. Ramsay struggled with a string of failed marriages, none of which lasted, despite his charm and comedic timing. His personal relationships were frequently turbulent, often characterized by jealousy and financial issues. Ramsay's career also took a hit during the 70s, as the rising wave of younger talent pushed him to the sidelines. Most damning were the rumors about his habits off-screen, specifically his notorious gambling problem, which caused him to spiral into deep debt. Colleagues recalled him as a man of many vices, but also someone who could be fiercely loyal when he felt respected. Ramsay's death on June 26, 2000 at 79 was seen by some as the end of a man who never quite found peace with himself. John Houseman, born September 22, 1902, took on the role of Milt in Mork and Mindy in 1982 at the age of 80. His character was authoritative and dignified, mirroring much of Houseman's own commanding presence. Houseman's legacy was solidified long before his appearance on the show, known for his work as a producer and actor in both theater and film. However, his later years were marked by unsettling whispers about his personal life. Houseman, despite his public success, was a man consumed by control, both in his professional and personal affairs. He maintained a tight grip on his relationships, leading to multiple failed marriages and an estranged relationship with his children. He also faced criticism for being difficult to work with, often clashing with younger directors and actors who found his old-school mentality suffocating. Some insiders even hinted at his complicated relationships with women, which may have been clouded by his controlling tendencies. Houseman passed away from cancer on October 31, 1988 at 86, leaving a legacy of unresolved family tensions. Geoffrey Lewis, born July 31, 1935, began playing Deputy Tilwick on Mork and Mindy in 1978 at age 43. His portrayal of the tough, often stoic deputy added a distinct layer of intensity to the show. Lewis was known for his diverse roles across film and television, yet his personal life was marred by an unsettling reputation. A deeply private man, Lewis struggled with addiction throughout much of his career, including a battle with alcohol that alienated many of his colleagues. On set, he was occasionally accused of inappropriate behavior, and there were whispers of his volatile temper. Off-screen, his romantic entanglements were notorious, particularly a turbulent relationship that led to an acrimonious divorce. Lewis's ability to maintain a steady career, despite these personal demons, was remarkable, but many wondered if his continued success masked deeper, unresolved issues. His death on April 7, 2015 at 79 was viewed by some as a tragic end to a man who never truly conquered his inner demons. Stanley Camel, born January 1, 1943, was 38 when he began playing Charlie in Mork Mindy in 1981. Charlie, with his affable demeanor, was the perfect foil to the show's zaniness. But off-screen, Camel was a different person entirely. Although he kept a low profile, his personal life was marked by deep dissatisfaction. His marriage to actress Judith Chapman was turbulent, plagued by infidelity and mutual disdain. Camel was known to harbor bitterness about his career, feeling that he was always cast in secondary roles despite his considerable talent. His temper was legendary, and he had a reputation for making explosive demands on directors and producers, causing him to be blacklisted from major roles during the mid-1980s. As his career floundered, Camel turned to gambling, running up massive debts that left him financially strained. In his later years, he struggled with depression and health problems. Camel died of a heart attack on April 8, 2008, at age 65, leaving behind a trail of broken relationships and unfulfilled potential. Ned Werimer, born October 27, 1923, was 56 when he took on the role of the clerk in Mork Mindy in 1979. The clerk was a pedantic and rather unremarkable figure, emblematic of Werimer's career in small but dependable roles. Despite his long tenure as a respected character actor, Werimer's personal life was an enigma. He was known for being deeply private, a man who kept a tight grip on his family and friendships, often distancing himself from the typical Hollywood social scene. His reclusiveness, however, hid a deep sadness stemming from an estranged marriage that ended in a bitter divorce, leaving him emotionally scarred. Though there were no major scandals, rumors about his temper and manipulative personality swirled quietly around the set. He was known to sabotage the careers of up-and-coming actors, often using his industry clout to intimidate others. His final years were spent in isolation, far from the Hollywood spotlight. He passed away on January 2, 2013, at age 89, following complications from a fall. Richard Maul, born January 13, 1943, was 38 when he began portraying Baba Gentle in 1981. The character was a gentle giant, a kind-hearted figure in a show that balanced absurdity with warmth. However, Maul's career path was anything but gentle. Although adored for his role in Night Court, he struggled with personal demons that often overshadowed his public persona. Maul's struggle with alcoholism led to an infamous on-set incident where he was reportedly seen drunk during a live taping, causing a temporary halt in production. His marriage to actress Susan Kelly was highly publicized but ended in scandalous divorce papers that hinted at emotional abuse and cheating. His children, estranged from him for years, later spoke about the pressure he put on them to succeed in the entertainment industry, making their childhoods a nightmare. Despite these struggles, Maul tried to remain relevant in Hollywood, but his erratic behavior made him more of a cautionary tale than a beloved actor. He passed away on October 26, 2023, at age 80, from natural causes. Rodney McDow, born September 17, 1928, was 51 when he took on the role of Chuck the Robot in Mork Mindy in 1979. Though McDowell was a beloved figure in Hollywood, his career was often overshadowed by a mysterious and turbulent personal life. His involvement in several high-profile Hollywood feuds, including one with a fellow actor during Planet of the Apes, led to whispers of unprofessionalism and manipulation. McDowell was also known to have used his fame to wield power over younger actors, often exploiting his position to get preferential treatment. His romantic relationships were marked by secrecy and accusations of manipulation, including a rumored affair with a famous studio head that led to his swift departure from a major film project in the 60s. In his later years, McDowell struggled with severe loneliness, and his health deteriorated quickly due to his smoking habit. He died of lung cancer on October 3, 1998, at age 70, after a long battle with the disease. Who's your favorite character in Mork and Mindy? How do you feel knowing that the actors have passed away? Feel free to leave your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this content, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell so you don't miss future videos. Thank you so much.